So I'm making a separate video here because the main goal of these videos is to present to you an undiluted, passionate retelling of their points. I want the viewer to listen to that with as little of my own thoughts as opinions and come up with their own conclusions, but Jesus Christ, what a disgusting and disingenuous way of looking at things. If you ever wondered where tankies come from, here's the reason. Of course, he doesn't say it directly, and the next article will go into this in more details, but you don't have to be a genius to understand where this worldview leads. When a socialist state expands and destroys the lives of people in the occupied lands, it is good, because socialism and bourgeois in general are not to be pitied. But when NATO does the same, imperialism, evil, bad. And sure, they're going to hide behind some flowery language like progress and social development, etc., but this is nothing but a farce, because explain as much as you will, but the logic proposed is simple. If a small state is at war with an empire, it is good. If an empire is at war against a small state, it is bad. If two empires are fighting each other for the right to take the most loot, both are bad. If a socialist state is defending itself against a capitalist state, this is good. Hell, for the sake of spiciness, take the war of Russians against Ukrainians and let's try to filter them through these lenses. Ukraine is a nationalist capitalist state that fights against an obviously imperialist feudal Russia. At the very least, one can hardly argue that the modern political system of Russia is anything but a Tsar with a bunch of noble landlords. So obviously Ukraine isn't right here, but Bulgarian peasants were also ultimately fighting for their personal gain. What do we see from a quote-unquote historical perspective? Ah, yes, Ukraine is getting pumped full of funds and weapons by the Western capitalists, while Russia is fighting for its dear life like China did during Opium Wars. The West obviously wants to destroy and colonize Russia, to extract as much resources from them as possible. Of course, Russia is pretty much puppeteered by China, about as much as Ukraine is getting puppeted by the West, but do you know what China is, at least to some people? That's right. It's a socialist country, and it's also getting help from North Korea and Iran and other sides that fight against the Western imperialism. And that's not mentioning that a weakened, destabilized Ukraine and or Russia is a good breeding ground for a new socialist state as well. Replace Ukraine and Russia with Palestine and Israel and you'll get the exact same thing. This is why this historical lens of viewing war to me is nothing but a cynical way to justify any sort of war, any sort of atrocity, any sort of actions that, if done so by their ideological enemies, would be considered as inhuman and imperialist. In order to justify an invasion, a socialist only needs to create a puppet government, such as the Ukrainian and Finnish SSR, and presto, you have a casus belli. Because it is always good to defend socialism against nationalism. The fact that they are doing exactly what England did with the Boers matters not. The cause of socialism always trumps anything else.